Thanks for tuning in to our third video in the series of Securing Our Buckskin Legacy. First, I want to thank the community members who have been having conversations with my team and asking questions. One such community member pointed out that we shared 3 options recently, but left out a 4th. We shared, number 1, continuing on as a K-8, and when we run out of money, we close our doors in 2031-2032. Consolidation or annexation with a neighboring district, or adding a Buckskin High School. So I wanted to share the 4th option that was suggested to me because I thought it might be something that many of you are also wondering about. The 4th option would be going to our voters and asking them for a tax levy increase that would cover the additional $1 million for future tuition costs. Our district is very rural in the fact that we have little to no commercial businesses within our boundaries. We have residential and agricultural property that generates our tax base at a much lower rate. If we ask our voters for a 50-cent tax increase, bringing our $3.18 levy up to $3.68, that would generate only $200,000 annually. We need 5 times that. So to cover the additional $1 million in tuition, we'd have to ask the voters for a $2.50 increase, bringing our tax rate from $3.18 up to $5.68. Folks, we'd have the highest tax rate around the entire region and many parts of the state. That's a 78.62% increase just to pay to other districts. I don't think that's a viable option. You'd also have to consider that the tuition costs would likely continue to rise again after that. So we'd be asking voters again to raise the local tax effort higher than the $5.68 amount. I hope that does clear up some confusion as to why I didn't originally propose that as a viable option. I just can't imagine asking our taxpayers for that. But I'm so thankful for the community members who ask me all the questions, the hard ones, the easy ones, the good ones, the fun ones, the difficult ones, so I can share them with you. If one of you are wondering about it, I'm certain more people out there are thinking some of the very same things. So thank you for all of you asking questions and having conversations. On to the next topic in this installment are the ways that we could open our high school. Currently, we have no high school teachers, staff, or building to house them in. But the first way to open our high school would be to grow a year at a time. This means we would go from a K-8 to a K-9 in possibly 2028, 2029, a K-9 to a K-10 the next year, a K-10 to a K-11 the following year, and finally, possibly a K-11 to a K-12 in 2031, 2032. This requires our district to submit an application to the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education called the Request for Local Educational Agency or Attendance Center Changes. I have already been in contact with DESE representatives, and they confirmed that we would submit this application annually for 4 years in a row. This model allows us to keep our 8th graders as freshmen and hire those teachers for that year, and then replicate that plan for the next 3 years. In addition to teaching staff, the high school is going to need 1 counselor and 1 administrator. This model also does not allow for our high school students to, quote, come back to JEB as an option. I know a lot of you parents have had that question. If we explore the option of opening the high school for all students in grades 9 through 12 in one given year, that would mean our students in neighboring high schools would be forced to come back, as the state statute would no longer allow them to attend another district. This could be detrimental to high school students who have already solidified their plan with their high school counselor and are on track with classes to gain their credits for high school graduation. It would never be our intention to harm student progress in that manner. However, this would depend on whether or not neighboring districts continue to raise tuition rates at unattainable levels. No decision has been made about which model could be used until we hear from you about all of these ideas, but also support from the taxpayer to move forward in building what could become Buckskin High School. The last topic for today is for us to explain how the special board meeting or the community meeting will be conducted on April the 28th at 6 p.m. Since board meetings are legally governed by parliamentary procedure, Robert's Rules of Orders, and the Sunshine Law, our board will call this special board meeting on April 28th a listening meeting. We want to hear from as many folks as possible, so there will not be back and forth conversation from the public to the Board of Education per rules and laws already mentioned. Instead, we want to use this time to hear from each one of you, giving all of your opinions and your thoughts. The board members are elected by you. They want to listen at this meeting so they can gather all of the comments and all of the feedback to help guide their decision-making process. If the community wants to support the addition of a Buckskin High School, then we'll be asking taxpayers to increase their taxes to supply the revenue needed for a high school facility. This facility would be built likely in phases. Right now, our financial advisors are working on amounts for possible ballot language in the neighborhood of 30 to 60 cent tax increases for us, the taxpayer. Stay tuned for more information on how those general obligation bonds would work to secure the legacy that we're working to provide. We appreciate the conversations and input that we are already receiving, and we look forward to hearing from more patrons on April the 28th at that special board meeting at 6 p.m. See you there. Go Buckskins!